welcome back to the reloading bench. Let's just jump straight into another reloading video. How many times have you been out and about when you've been hunting and you've found old spent plastic shotgun wads in the environment that you're hunting in? These don't biodegrade. This one's a B&P S44 wad. This one's a Gualandi LBC wad. That's the unfired state. This is the fired state as they come out the barrel. These things will basically last in the environment for ever. The plastic for a reason. Shooting steel shot through the bores of your shotgun. The tough plastic, it does a really good job of protecting the steel shot from the bores of your shotgun and prevents barrel scrubbing and all the related issues with firing steel shot. However, here in the UK and possibly other places in the world, there is a move away from single-use plastics in shotgun ammunition, and also a move to non-toxic. Some people say that you can't really have one without the other. You can't have non-toxic shot and not use single-use plastic wads. With lead ammunition, of course, you can use Fiber Wad ammunition and you don't have the same problem. But to have a non-toxic cartridge without a single-use plastic is something that's in development but is not widespread, not very common. But it is possible to reload your own. And what I've got here is an example of a fiber shot cup and the fired state. There's one that I managed to recover. There's another one there. This is a compressed fiber shot cup in 12 bore. It's designed to act in the same way as the plastic shot cups to stop the steel shot from contacting the bores of your barrel. And I have been reloading these with good success this year, and I've shot a lot of geese with them and they've been working very well. And I'm just going to show you how I go about reloading these. Just a quick note on these fiber shot cups. They do a really good job of protecting the barrel from the steel pellets. This one here has been squeezed through a Briley 3/4 choke, and it also was loaded with BB steel, and you can see the dents from the BB pellets in the petals of the wad, but there is actually no penetration, no pinholes, no penetration. This entire shot cup passed through the choke with large steel shot, and there was no pinholes formed as the pellets, as this shot cup and the pellets passed through the choke and exited the barrel of the shotgun. So fiber shot cups, these are 55mm long 12 gauge fiber shot cups. They come from a company called Clay and Game Reloading Suppliers. I haven't found them anywhere else bar this supplier. They are the same shot cup that is used in the Game Bore Silver Steel, just a bit shorter in that cartridge. These ones are designed for 3.5-inch hulls. We'll need a sealing component, and we're going to use a 12 gauge 4mm nitrocard. Both the nitrocard and the fiber shot cup are completely biodegradable, which means when they are ejected and land on the ground, the action of moisture and bacteria and the normal things that break down fiber wads will act on these components, and they will break down, and there'll be no trace of them left in the environment that you're shooting in. There's not a great deal of load data available. Clay and Game have a data sheet that you can get from them. It's for this powder here, SSB 150. However, I am going to use Alliance Steel, and this is a load that I've worked up myself. Essentially, what I've done is I've taken the load data from my plastic wad ounce and 3/8 steel shot load and used the same data for that in the fiber nitro card and fiber shot cup load. Fiber nitro cards are much less efficient at sealing in the barrel, and there's actually, with the load that I've got that comes out of the Status of Steel manual, there's slightly greater flattening of the primer with the plastic wad load in comparison to the fiber wad load, which shows me that the fiber wad load is at a lower pressure, but the plastic wad load is a tested load from a manual. So I'm pretty confident that this is a safe load. However, usual disclaimers apply. You know, load this at your own risk. All reloading is at your own risk. So you know, get your loads tested. For this particular load, the full length of 55mm of the shot cup is too long in order to use a 6-point star crimp. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut the wad down to 50mm, and you just do that with a box cutter or a Stanley knife. It needs to be sharp, and then you need to slit the wad 4 ways, or the shot cup 4 ways, in order that it will open like a normal shot cup. The way that I do it, the way that I slit these, is instead of slitting them at a perfect 90-degree angle to the wall of the shot cup, I actually slit them at an angle, so that, if you can see there, each of those petals overlaps, and that's so that the steel shot cannot contact the wall of the barrel at the slit point. So that's a tip. And another tip is, for this load, not to slit the shot cup all the way back. I slit it about 3/4 of the way, and in order to get the right depth, I just use this is a 1-inch high brass head off of a Fiocchi game load, and I put the fiber shot cup in there, and then that provides the correct depth for slitting each of the petals. Okay, let's put one of these rounds together. We've got a 3.5-inch 12-gauge jadeite hull with a CX 2000 primer, 46 grains of Alliance steel powder, a 4mm nitro card, the shot cup, the fiber shot cup that's been trimmed to 50mm and has been slit 4 ways, a 20-gauge 3mm cork spacer, an ounce and 3/8 or 38.8 grams of BB steel, and a 12-gauge overshot card. So we'll start this by dumping the powder into the hull. Now this is quite a full load, so the column height is quite tall, so you need to make sure that everything's packed in very well in order to make it all fit. Okay, so I've just tapped down the steel powder. I'm going to sit the 4mm nitrocard in there and press that right into the bottom of the hull and push that down nice and good. And you can see that the nitrocard's in the bottom of the hull now on top of the powder. Then our shot cup, and it's fairly loose fitting and fits just in there just nicely. And then we're going to put our cork spacer into the bottom of the shot cup, and this does a few things. It just provides that little bit extra cushioning and a little bit extra strength in the bottom of the shot cup, and it also helps take up some of the space of the shot column. We've got our 1 3/8 of BB steel, and we'll tip this in. Okay, you can see it just comes to above the level of the shot cup, but that actually will work down into the shot cup. It's quite a large shot size, so what we do is we use our 12 gauge overshot card just to help hold the shot down into the shot cup. And we'll crimp this in the Lee Loadall 2 on the 6-star press, on the 6-star crimp station. Okay, and then we'll finish it off with the crimp finisher. So 1 3/8 of BB steel in a fibre shot cup in a 3.5-inch 12 gauge load. This load is doing 1450 feet per second, so is not blisteringly quick for a steel load, but is actually 1450 feet per second is the CIP maximum velocity. So it's velocity wise, it's CIP spec. It works very well, and you know, for geese 50-55 yards is absolutely spot on and brings them down just fine. This is a clip of me taking a grey lag goose about 45 to 50 yards heading away from me. Unfortunately the safety catch sticks on my shotgun and I do get it with a second barrel, but interestingly enough you can see the fibre shot cup completely disintegrates upon exiting the barrel, and you get this kind of confetti of the shot cup blowing back at you, which can be a little bit disconcerting, but it does do a really good job. So the last thing to do is to mark up the hull. You can do this with a Sharpie. That's what most people do. It's very important that you mark your reloaded ammunition to make sure that you put the chamber length on and also what the load is. I do it a little differently. I've got a set of stamp pads and I use this StazOn solvent ink in Blaze Red, and this is great for marking up loads. So we'll just do this one. Doesn't take too long to do it, so there's Fiber Wad, details on what the load is. So 39 grams of BB steel, or equates to 1 ounce and 3/8 if you're across the pond. And then also very important, this is a 3.5 inch shell, or 89mm. So the chamber length is on there as well. 89mm Magnum, 3.5 inch, 39 grams of BB steel, and it's a fiber shot cup. So that load is doing, as I say, about 1450 feet per second, and has worked really well this season. And of course, I'm not shooting plastic shot cups all over the environment that I deeply care about and don't particularly want to litter with plastic. So there we go, guys. That is 3.5 inch BB fiber steel reload.